The intruders, umbrellas in hand, entered Zhang Yi's residence only to discover it riddled with hidden cameras installed by Zhanlong Security Company. As they approached the massive steel door, one of them slipped a set of gleaming metal tools into the lock, attempting to pick it. Zhang Yi watched the scene on a monitor, then calmly opened his phone, activated the safehouse control software, and sent a surge of high voltage through the door's circuitry. The current seized Lu Tao, who was turning the lock, and he screamed in agony as his body ignited, smoke curling from his charred limbs before he collapsed, dead. The sudden death inflamed Sun Jichao's rage. He grabbed an iron shovel and hammered it against the door, the impact echoing through the building, yet the alloy beneath the peeled paint held firm. Zhang Yi stepped forward, hands in his pockets, a faint smile curving his lips as he taunted the intruders, declaring that any attempt to breach his door was a summons to death. Wang Min's voice then rang out, accusing Zhang Yi of murdering Lu Tao and calling him a devil. Zhang Yi recognized the angry crowd as the group led by Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning, the only ones who knew the layout of his house. He snarled that they had barged in to seize his home and deserved death, while Sun Jichao pleaded that they only wanted a conversation and an explanation for Lu Tao's death. The outsiders shouted their willingness to share the house, offering the master bedroom and supplies, insisting they would face the coming disaster together. Zhang Yi scoffed, declaring the house his alone, and challenged the intruders to break in again as he loaded a pistol, ready to crossbow, and kept his eyes fixed on every movement through the ever-watchful surveillance cameras. Zhang Yi observed from his living room as Zhou Pang, Sun Jichao, Gu Jialiang and several others, brandishing umbrellas, hauled a massive log and battered his fortified steel door. The log slammed against the door with a deafening duong, yet the door, a 20-centimeter thick alloy plate, showed no dent, only a few white spots. Their frustration grew as they realized no amount of brute force could breach the barrier, and they retreated to the stairs, their faces a mix of anger and disbelief. Zhang Yi, seated calmly on his sofa, held a pistol in his left hand and a crossbow in his right, watching the futile assault through his surveillance feed, his mind already turning the failed attack into a lesson. When the intruders regrouped, Zhang Yi opened an iron box and extracted 20 rust-covered crossbow bolts he had deliberately left to act as tetanus arrows. He aimed at the cluster of umbrellas, letting the first bolt pierce one of them, eliciting a scream that cut through the cold air. Without hesitation he fired a second bolt, then a third, each striking arms or thighs, deliberately avoiding vital organs but ensuring severe infection. One of the attackers fell dead instantly, 3 more clutched their wounded limbs, and the remaining 6 scattered in panic. Zhang Yi watched the chaos with a detached smile, noting that even a 1 in 10,000 chance of tetanus was a fate he preferred his enemies to face rather than a clean kill. The blood-soaked encounter left Zhang Yi with a dwindling supply of standard crossbow bolts. He frowned at the prospect of running out, recalling his original stock of 300 bolts and arrows. Turning to his subdimensional whitespace storage, he retrieved a cache of metal bearing balls and toy glass marbles, items he could repurpose as makeshift projectiles for his professional-grade crossbow. The discovery reassured him that he could sustain his defense indefinitely, even if conventional ammunition ran dry. He reflected on the failed robbery. Fang Yuqing's group of 7 had lost a member and seen 3 injured, forcing them to flee without even attempting to recover the fallen comrade's body. The episode reinforced Zhang Yi's belief that caution and preparation were his greatest weapons in the frozen world. The assault on Zhang Yi's fortified apartment ended in a chaotic retreat as Fang Yuqing, Wang Min, Sun Jichao and the others fled back, their bodies slick with cold sweat and pain. The rusted tetanus arrows that Zhang Yi had fired found their marks on Sun Jichao, Zhou Pang and Gu Jialiang, the 3 men who had pressed closest to the steel door. Their wounds sank deep, the iron rust coating promising a swift infection in the sub-zero air. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning, having stayed farther back, escaped the arrows but watched in horror as their comrades collapsed onto the sofa, faces turning ashen when the true danger of the rust became clear. Inside the cramped living room, tension erupted. Wang Min, trembling with fury, slapped Fang Yuqing, accusing her of leading the doomed raid. Zhou Pang leapt forward to defend his cousin, insisting she had acted in ignorance, while Lin Caning retorted that Wang Min herself had been lucky to avoid injury. The argument dissolved into a desperate consensus: they needed a doctor. Wang Min summoned Dr. Zhou Kur, a known medic who had once saved Lin Xiaohu's life. Dr. Zhou arrived in a black, knee-length coat, a metal medical kit slung over her shoulder, and immediately surveyed the deep, rust-stained wounds. She warned that the arrows could not be safely extracted without proper equipment and antibiotics. Even removal would leave the victims vulnerable to a fatal infection in the bitter cold. The grim prognosis hung over the group like a winter storm. Tears streamed down Wang Min's face as she realized that without medicine the injured would likely die. Sun Jichao's voice, low and pleading, underscored the urgency of finding a cure. In that moment of shared despair, Fang Yuqing's eyes lit up with a sudden recollection: Zhang Yi's family might still have some medicine hidden away. The revelation offered a fragile thread of hope, leaving the survivors to weigh the peril of another confrontation against the chance to save their friends. The chapter closed on that uneasy promise, the howling blizzard outside echoing the uncertainty within.